Happy St. Patrick's Day. This is the story of the history and the traditions, the pride and the passion of the St. Patrick's Day celebrations on Achill Island. So, after we hear the reveille at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're up and we're ready for the day. The most important thing is a big breakfast, and the Doo-Wop Pipe Band assemble here at Molly's from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. Why Molly's? Well, Molly's aunt was the original custodian of the flag, and when she died, she passed the flag on to Molly. Molly then got married to John McNamara, John Waya in Kiel West, and she brought the flag with her. So hence, the tradition was born. One of the first questions you're asked is, did you sign the book? The book in question is a roll of attendance. It's a lovely record of members past and present, and those who have passed on. Unless you've experienced it yourself, it's hard to describe the atmosphere at Molly's on a St. Patrick's morning. Tuning pipes, laughing, slagging, meeting people you haven't met for the previous year, fixing uniforms, straightening ties, pulling up socks. When the pipes are tuned and all is deemed to be in order, a circle is formed around the flag on Molly's gable. Then the first tune of the day is played, St. Patrick's Day. So, as the Doo-Wop Band make their way through the village, usually the people, the households, stand at their gate and wait for the pipe band to pass. Then they join and march behind the pipe band on their way to Mass. Our first stop is here at the top of the Bray in Doo-Wop, where we wait for the Pulla Pipe Band. Tradition dictates that the pipe band from that village lead the parade through their own village. At the same time, the pipe bands from Kiel and Ducanella make their way to meet at Pulla Church. So here we are in Pulla Church. At 9 o'clock on St. Patrick's morning is a big focal point because all of the pipe bands converge here for Mass. Not only the pipe bands, but people who have travelled to be here for St. Patrick's Day. And it's always a great day of celebration, people shaking hands and hugging and kissing, when we could hug and kiss, and just the whole feeling of community. We come in here to the church and Mass Oscailge, and has been Oscailge for the last 50 years. Rudata an Tábhachtach doing on show. And an integral part of the day, the colour, the way the pipe bands and the school band form part of the Mass, all of them contributing either in readings, in bringing up the gifts, involved in the choir and the music. It's a very, very special occasion. Nach Jason Rode. So for any of you who have been here on St. Patrick's morning, there's no need for me to describe the feeling of coming out of the church after Mass. The cacophony of sound, the colour, the shamrock, the pipe bands tuning, always a great spectacle. People still meeting and greeting. It's actually a struggle to get through the crowd here typically, without having to shake hands with people as well and welcome people and people you haven't seen in a long time. At the same time, the pipe bands have their different patches and where they would play their set of new tunes that they'd have learned. Typically the Pulla Pipe Band and the Ducanella Pipe Band would play up here. The Kiel Pipe Band would also play on the green, as it's called, and the Doo-Wop Pipe Band would play on the road. Now, in the last number of years, it hasn't been unusual for other pipe bands to join us. We've had the Clou Bay Pipe Band from Westport. There's a great Achill connection there with Des Cafferkey from Crumpon and Peter Carney. And indeed, 2 years ago, we had a pipe band from Germany. So the pipe bands would play their sets of tunes, they would all assemble on the road, and then the next part of the parade would be to march from here all the way to Ducanella. The scene at Pulla Church could be described as a theatre of dreams for generation after generation of children who aspire to join the ranks with their brothers or sisters, fathers or mothers, aunts or uncles, to proudly line out in the colours of their village and emulate their heroes. The first stepping stone on the way to this dream is to be part of the school bands. When the Christmas holidays are over and the children are back to school, first question on their lips is, when does band practice start? But by the time the 17th of March comes round, they are all ready to proudly take their place in the parade. So after Mass in Pulla Church, the pipe bands make their way parading down through the village of Keele, through Cawbawn here, to get to Ducanella Church for Mass here at 12. Up to the 1920s, this was the only church in the lower part of the island, so it meant that the Dewap band would have marched from Molly's all the way over to here, which is a distance in the region of about 8 kilometres. That said, in the morning, when people have already got Mass in Pulla, it's not unusual for them to frequent the cross for a warm drink. A little hot whiskey is no harm on a cold March morning like this. Once again, after Mass, the bands get to play their new sets of tunes for the crowds who have assembled from near and far. For many, the iconic moment of the day takes place here, when all the members of the 5 pipe bands and the 2 children's bands join together in what's locally known as the Mass Band. More than 100 pipers and drummers form a circle, and in its centre lie the 5 pipe majors and the 5 bass drummers. As the band plays on, the pipe majors raise their staffs and point towards the gates of the church. The assembled crowd give way for the musicians to march onto the road and over the hill to the crossroads inn. Another circle is formed and another tune is played. Then the individual bands break out to begin their homeward journey. For the last leg of our journey, we head westward from Ducanella to the far end of Dewap and back to Molly's. Despite tired bodies, sore legs and numb fingers, the spirits are lifted by the supporters of the band who come out to offer words of encouragement, crack a joke and share precious memories, knowing that they too are playing their part in a tradition that spans almost a century and a half. For the band members, the experience can be bittersweet. As time marches on, Minds wander to days gone by, flashbacks of dear friends no longer with us, and the deafening silence from empty houses that once teemed with life. A well-welcomed stop on our journey is at the Wavecrest. The contribution the Lavelle family have made down through the years has been immense. They have always made their premises available for band practices, fundraisers, functions and refreshments. Gura míle maithigí. The pubs in the village, full of St. Patrick's Day revellers, anxiously await the arrival of the band. As the band approach, they march into a circle and proudly play their new tunes. Indeed, it would not be unusual for dancers to join in or former band members to pick up their old instruments. At the end of the day, it's back to Molly's where it all began, 10 or 11 hours earlier. The final ritual of the day is for the flag carriers to place the flag against the gable and the band play the last tune of the day, the same as the first, St. Patrick's Day. For some, the day has taken its toll and they retire early. For others, a long night looms ahead, but that's another story. So these are the traditions we will go through on St. Patrick's Day. Again, the weather can turn like this. We hope you can all join us again next year or in the future to follow us on our parades. Hail Glorious St. Patrick!